Hey guys, what is going on? In today's video, I have the profound honor and privilege to be reviewing another pair of Quan Shoemakers boots. Quan is a Chinese-based shoemaker who I've reviewed a couple of his boots in prior videos, and the man is an absolute machine. He's an absolute legend. He's an absolute artisan, and it is manifest in his work. So today I'm going to be reviewing these bump perforated cap toe service boots in BRANDY Kudu. If you've been following my channel for a while, then you'll know that I am no stranger at all to Kudu. I have been a big fan of it over the years. Kudu is an antelope type animal from Africa. I actually have a pair of Trumans in BRANDY Kudu on the 79 last. My buddy Jay Yorkin, we basically exchanged boots. I had a pair of Tuscanello horse rump boots that I sent to him, and he sent me these, and so I'll be comparing these BRANDY Kudus to these BRANDY Kudus because they are the same leather. They're both very stretchy, very spongy, dry to the feel, though the Trumans might have been conditioned because they feel like they actually have some oil applied to it, whereas these Quans, a little bit drier to the feel, a little bit more of a nubuck feel to them. So these were sent to me by my buddy Mario, aka Boot Reaper on Instagram. Go give him a follow. He has a phenomenal boot collection. So thank you, Mario, for sending me these to review, and thank you, Quan, for pumping out yet another amazing boot. Just by looking at these, they do kind of look reminiscent of the John Lofgren Combat boot, in that they've got a perforated cap toe here, which is extremely decorative. I love the look of a perfed cap toe. Nothing like it. I really love it. I think it really adds an element of style. Whereas the Truman does do perforated cap toes, but this is their standard cap toe, and it's a simple triple stitch cap toe. My preference, I love that perforated cap toe, but for most day-to-day standard wearing boots, the standard cap toe is pretty much standard issue. It's not a knock against Truman. Like I said, Truman does a lot of perfed cap toes. In fact, some of my recent horse rump orders from Truman have been in perforated cap toe. So we've got a structured toe, and this is super structured, so I assume there's some Celastic in there, something beyond just a standard leather stiffener. The back heel counter is also structured. We've got a superficial cosmetic triple stitch to give the impression of a back heel stay, but there actually isn't a back heel stay here. It's simply a cosmetic triple stitch in that it's simply the quarter here. The quarter and the back heel stay are the same piece of leather, but I think it's a very nice stylistic touch that he added on there. So the back heel strip is, however, a separate piece, triple stitched down. Very beautiful, like hourglass shape. Very nice curvature there. An amazing roll top at the throat here. Beautiful work there by Quan. And then, not to brag, but Mario did throw in some of my British Tan double shot kilties into there, and I think that's a stunning contrast. Well done, Mario. You can buy my kilties at dalesleatherworks.com. I've got this British Tan double shot. I also have Oxblood double shot, which are huge hits. But the original tongue are also BRANDY Kudu. Brandy's a good word for that. It's like sort of a pale straw color. It's not quite the rich brown as like a cognac, but BRANDY is beautiful in its own right. And one of the most stunning things about Kudu boots in particular are the striations and the scars and the scratches from the life of the animal. It's on full display here, and the lighter the color of the Kudu, the more on display those marks are. Both of the cap toes have insane scratch and scar marks on there. The life of a Kudu is clearly difficult. Amazing sort of lighter scratches throughout the quarters here and here. Really, really beautiful though, and I'm starting to see some crocking from Mario's denim get in on there too. And then the classic, the original Dr. Soul Super Grip outsole in black. Stunning choice there. And then the edge staining along the welt is like a very warm sort of cherry brown color. Absolute beautiful contrast. Oh, this is really interesting. I've actually never seen this before. This has a combination, a storm welt and a split reverse welt. So I've literally never ever seen this before. In fact, I didn't even know. I just noticed this just now as I'm reviewing the boot. But we've got a 360-degree Goodyear welt all around the perimeter. And then the front has a traditional storm welt in that the strip of leather here is bent over, so you'll just see the smooth side. So it's creased. But then halfway through, we hit a split reverse welt. And the split reverse welt is also a lip. So both are lips, more or less. The storm welt is a lip, and so is the split reverse welt. Now, typically a boot is going to have one or the other. The split reverse welt has the raw edge of it cut and exposed. Yeah, so both the storm welt and the split reverse welt, they're essentially lips, right, that sort of protect water from getting in, seeping in there. But the appearance is just a little bit different. There's really no big difference between the two. Now, on this boot, however, this is unique as unique gets. Another really unique thing that I just noticed is the front of the boot, the storm welt, is actually in the same exact leather as the uppers, which is BRANDY Kudu, whereas the split reverse welt in the back is actually natural veg tan. So two different leathers, utterly amazing. I've never seen anything like it. A very well done job there, Quan. Absolutely amazing. Quan, you did an amazing thing here. I've never seen it done before. These Parkhurst boots in natural Dublin. Absolutely stunning boots, but it's got a split reverse welt all the way around. It's the same piece of leather. One split reverse welt. That's typical. That's standard. Here are my Truman boots in ink Chiha, and this has a 270-degree storm welt. Triple stitched quarter to the vamp, quadruple stitched cap toe. The sole is quite incredible. The sole, as you can see, the waist is like 2 inches wide. That's unique. Typically, on a typical boot, you know, the waist isn't that tapered. So compare these Trumans. The Trumans is a pretty standard taper here. It's not super aggressive, but on the Quans, super aggressive taper there. That's the mark of a bespoke maker right there. Really well done. The eyelets, very impressive. This is something I always pay attention to because in Alden eyelets, Allen Edmonds and things like that, these speed hooks cinch down if you apply too much pressure to them. The ones that Quan uses are super robust. You will not squeeze those down. Similar to the stuff Truman uses, I gotta give Truman their credit where credit is due. Truman also uses very, very robust eyes. You know, you could probably run a semi-truck over those things and they won't cinch down. So let's do a little comparison of the Truman and the Quans. The Truman is going to be a little bit more of a functional everyday boot. The Quans is going to be leaning more into that bespoke range. Typically, I don't do a comparison like this because I really don't think there is much of a comparison. Both brands live very much within their own universe, and to compare them isn't really fair or useful. But in this case, because they're both in the same leather, I figured this would be a good opportunity to kind of bring two worlds together and talk about them. You know that Truman is one of my favorite brands of all time. Like, the price point is so good. You know, you're basically getting a Viberg quality boot for like 30% less. It's also made in America. Plus, Vince, he's a super cool guy. I really like Vince. He's got a truly brilliant mind when it comes to making boots, and he knows exactly what he's doing, exactly the target market that he's aiming for. He's creating a utilitarian boot for just everyday dudes, whether you're going to an office or you're working. They say they don't make work boots, but these are definitely work boots. The toes are very well structured. The boots are super hard wearing. They're adventure boots. They're everyday lifestyle boots. The Quans, however, a little bit more refined. So we're getting more into bespoke territory again with Quan. These Quans would probably run you probably about $800, whereas these Trumans about $430. So what you're getting with the Quans is you're getting more of that bespoke experience. You're going to be sending Quans your foot measurements. He's going to be constructing the last to your foot type. He's going to be doing every single detail to your specifications, like this roll top, throat, the eyes. Everything is going to be made to exactly how you want it. And the sole, the edge stain, all of it. It's going to be, He's going to customize it. He's the only guy doing it. I messaged with Quan back and forth. He makes his own roller buckles. This guy is insane. This guy is probably on White Cloud level. You know, Jake at Almost Vintage Style, he talks up White Cloud quite a bit. And anyways, Quan, he's quickly becoming a flame panda. He's got orders out the wazoo. He is increasing in popularity. He's a single maker, whereas Vince, he's got a team of people helping him out. He's got his own factory, so he's doing a lot more production than Quan. This is definitely splitting hairs, but Vince he's trying to lean more into that model of, you know, he's churning out batches of really good quality time-tested leathers that he approves of personally. So that's going to include a lot of his heavy hitters, like his Ramblers and his Kudus and his Steel Predators, his Cattail Grizzlies, a lot of this stuff. Whereas Quan, you can message him, you can have Quan make you some really rare, like Horween, rare shell cordovan leathers. You could choose basically any leather in the world. He can do it. You know, you can have it sent to him or he'll source it, but you will pay. You're going to pay a premium. You're going to pay a lot extra because he's giving so much time and attention to each pair. Whereas Truman, they're cranking out a lot of runs and their workmanship is very, very good, especially for what you're getting. Is this an upgrade to Red Wing? Hell yes it is. Red Wing, their work is often quite sloppy. Truman, their work is never sloppy. I never see anything out of place on a pair of Trumans. I've had probably 30, 40 pair of Trumans, you know, in my possession over time, and it's always super good work. I mean, it is Viberg level quality that you're getting for a heavily reduced price point. Comparing these two, once again, it's not a good comparison because they're just two different approaches of boot making all together. Both the Vamp quarter stitching on the Trumans and the Quans are both triple stitched down. The Truman has kind of a stylistic, they do 2 rows of stitching really close to each other, and then they sort of separate the third row of stitching from that. That's pretty cool. And then they do a box stitch right here to affix to secure the eyelet facing to the Vamp really good. They do the same double stitch and single stitch on the cap toe, which is cool. That's like a unique thing that Truman does. They also did that same thing on these ink Chisos. Super cool. I love the way they do that. It looks great. It looks professional. Quan did a simple triple stitch down. The 3 rows are congruent. Yeah, obviously on the Quans we got that bumped toe, and there is definitely a Celastic stiffener in there. On the Trumans, it's a structured toe, but it doesn't have Celastic in there. I think there's maybe a leather stiffener. As you can see, I can sort of press the toe down a little bit there. So yeah, both tongues are in Brandy Kudu. Truman's tongue is thicker than the Quan's. So they're both unlined, and both Kudus are 5.5 ounces exact. It's only the tongues where the thicknesses are different, and that's, again, splitting hairs. On the Trumans, we've got Vibram 430 full rubber soles, very nice. 270-degree Goodyear welt. Both have rawhide laces, absolutely beautiful. In the Quans, you're getting definitely 2 very thick layers, insole, midsole of thick veg tan leather. On the Trumans, you're getting an insole and midsole of semi-thick veg tan. The veg tan is still substantial, don't get me wrong, and it's perfect for an everyday guy, day-to-day wearing. The sole construction on these two are completely different, not to mention the size is different. The Quans, they're a size 9E, the Trumans 8.5D. The 8.5Ds fit me perfectly. The Quans, I know for a fact I can make these Quans work. I just need a thicker sock. Maybe I need to throw in one of my own insoles, which are available at dalesleatherworks.com. I sell insoles as in addition to the kill tees. But overall, for me, I'm just blessed to have both of these in my possession to be able to look at them up close. The Quans, you'll stand a little bit taller in these as the heel stack and the leather sole has a lot more elevation compared to the Trumans. The Trumans are going to be a little bit flatter. Not to mention the Trumans are 6-inch shaft boots, 5.25-inch uppers on the Truman, 5.5-inch uppers on the Quans. From ground to top, 6.5 inches on the Trumans. from ground to top, just over 7 inches on the Quans. Totally different builds, totally two different approaches. On the Trumans, as opposed to a roll top, we've got a raw edges on the Quans here, on the eyelet facings. So both eyelet facings are raw edges. But overall, just two completely different approaches to boot making. Both worthy of appreciation, I would say, for sure. The Quans are just, you know, a little bit more refined, a little bit more in that bespoke range, whereas the Trumans, a little bit more rugged, a little bit more hard wearing, a little bit more my speed. Though I love both, absolutely. I think both makers are doing absolutely phenomenal work. When I really look at the internal components of both, really look at them up close, both of them, they're both doing something absolutely wonderful. Let's be honest. So anyways, I think they both took the material and did a very good job with both. And might as well give an honorable mention to my Mark Alberts and Forest Kudu. These I might sell. I've been contemplating selling these because I should have gone with a D width. These are a double E width. Kudu stretches so dang much that it's kind of a little bit of a sloppy fit. Like, it's a good fit, don't get me wrong. I'm contemplating selling these. I really like the leather. It's just a little bit of a sloppier fit. But yeah, the length is good. As you can see, they're both 8.5 in length. It's the width, the double E width on the Mark Alberts that sort of, because this is such a stretchy leather, and I say this all the time, the uppers do have an effect on how the boot fits you. If you've got a really stretchy, really forgiving leather like this, or like a really thin, like sort of waxed suede, then you can afford to size down. If you've got a more robust upper, like this saddle tan veg, for example, really firm temper, you can't really afford to size down. You kind of have to get your fit spot on because it's not going to stretch on you. Those are just my thoughts on Brandy Kudu and Kudu in general. I love Kudu. I wish these Mark Alberts fit me a little better. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching, guys. What do you think about Kudu leather? What do you think specifically about Brandy Kudu? I'm in love, obviously. Let's keep the love of boot making alive. I will see y'all in my next video.